We're here to protect you and the ones that you love. It's a good feeling to know that our efforts aren't going unnoticed.
It actually brought tears to my eyes to know that we have this support.
You're welcome. I must just say you're welcome. It's stressful, but we're not going anywhere.
All right, welcome everybody at home viewing today's session. We're really fortunate to have 4 of our BISON head coaches joining us and 4 of our newer head coaches. So this is a great informative session that they'll be able to talk to you a little bit about how they're handling the COVID pandemic and the crisis, and how they're working with their student athletes to keep them informed on what's going on, not only in their programs, but what's happening on campus and dealing with remote learning. My name's TODD. NEWCOMB. I'm Senior Associate Director of Athletics at Bucknell, and I'll be moderating the session. Joining us today are our head coach from the women's golf program, Lisa Francisco. Lisa is the veteran on the panel in her 4th year, right? Lisa, that's year number 4 for her. Also on the panel, Tammy Cecchini, our women's tennis coach, who just, didn't really get to finish it, but was going to first season with the BISON, first full season. And then 2 of our newer coaches, Jackie Dando, who was actually hired in December. So you were in the middle of your very first season, getting to know your team when everything happened. And then our newest head coach on the panel, Tyler Hagstrom. Tyler is in his 3rd month on the job. So he barely knows his own team at this point. So it'll be really interesting to hear all of your thoughts and comments as we work our way through a few questions here for those at home. My first question is, obviously, when the news came to you, each of you, that we were going to have to suspend the spring season and that kids were going to be going home to learn remotely when Bucknell was going to shut down. First of all, where were you if you were with your team? And secondly, how did you relay that news, that really sad news, to your team and get them to understand that things are coming to an abrupt end? And Lisa, I guess we'll start with you.
Yeah, actually, my team gave the news to me. We had just gotten off the golf course in Daytona Beach from our tournament, and I was driving up Interstate 95 to our rental house, and all of a sudden there was just this big, oh my God, and they started reading the email about us going remotely when we got back to campus, and it took about another 24 hours for us to get the email about the season being canceled. We were just in our beach house, kind of sitting around the dining room table, looking out onto the water, and we got the email from Athletic Director Truax, and we just kind of looked at each other and disbelief and a lot of, but we were in a really good place at the time, so it didn't seem as bad as it does now, I guess.
Tammy, you were also, I think, on spring break when
Yeah, we were in California at the time, so we were 3 hours behind. And our rental house, I had my own casita, separated from the rest of the team. And when I woke up, I looked at my text messages, and same as Lisa, the team had found out before I had found out. So I said, you know what, hold on, let me check. I had not heard anything yet, so I said, just hold on for a second. And then I found out, and then we gathered for a team meeting, and a lot of them were speechless and shocked. So talked about it, just kind of calmed their nerves. They were a little nervous about the general population of the university going back, and then the spring athletes still remaining on campus. So we talked about that. I had them write me a list of questions and concerns that they had, and I sent that to my AD, Dan. The seniors, I have 2 seniors, 2 different seniors. One was a little bit more emotional than the other. The other one was a little bit, she's more practical. So 2 different reactions from them. And then I think it was the next day, we heard that the entire season was canceled. We were told to get on a plane and come back home. And it seems like it's such a blur now what had happened, because we had to get on a plane, go home, pack up, try to honor the seniors, in the couple days that we had. So But yeah, it's kind of a blur. I remember more of the emotions rather than the actual news.
Right. So what Tammy's referring to there, actually, we were going to attempt to finish the spring season with our spring student athletes. Initially, they were going to remain on campus. And then, of course, the decision was made by the Patriot League to close down all sports. And that's when everybody started to go home. So next, I'll turn to Jackie. And Jackie, you were in the middle of your first competitive season as a new head coach. How did you find out the news, and how did you relay it to your team?
Yeah, we found out we were traveling to on spring break. So we were actually coming back from South Carolina. We had played Campbell and Furman, and we were at the very beginning of a 9-hour bus ride. And we got the news probably at 10 o'clock in the morning via email that the season was canceled. And the seniors were just devastated, crying. There's 10 of them in the back of the bus. So coaches kind of went back and sat with them and, you know, tried to make the last bus ride enjoyable, but it was hard. It was really, really hard.
Yeah, on top of getting devastating news, you've got a 9-hour bus ride, so that's worse.
Yeah, we went to Chick-fil-A. I was like, order whatever you want. It didn't make it better. Milkshake did not make it better. So.
And Tyler, your situation a little bit different in that volleyball is a fall sport for traditional season. So you were in your non-traditional component of your season. Were you on campus when you found out and your team found out?
So we found out spring break as well. We were supposed to have a interview that Monday coming back from spring break with an assistant coach candidate. So we were sort of trying to figure out what time we're going to have the girls meet the candidate and do a team interview. And so we have a group me and we were talking about a lot of things. And then it seemed like it was sort of a snowball effect where we found out, okay, sort of like what Tammy was alluded to is, okay, well, the student population is gone, but maybe the student athletes will stay. So it seemed like every couple hours I was sending a different text and then a different text on top of that. And then it basically finalized with, okay, I guess, you know, we're not even going to have the candidate on campus anymore to interview them. So it was definitely an interesting situation because I had been with the girls only for 5 practices at that point. And coming back from spring break was going to be sort of our spring season where we we're going to practice, and I was going to, you know, have my chance to implement some new systems and such. So yeah, it was unique situation for me, but the girls were really great, and we've sort of gotten to know each other better now through Zoom and other avenues.
So some of you have already alluded to your seniors, Jackie with 10 and Tammy had 2. And I think Lisa has 2, if I'm not mistaken, or 1 or 2. And Tyler, you have some as well. Were you able to do anything special for your seniors to kind of send them off and you know, wrap up their experience? I mean, it's such a hollow feeling for them when as a senior, you're looking forward to that the entire time you're at Bucknell. And not only do you your athletic experience in your final season, but you lose a lot of the senior traditions that happen in the spring semester. So I'm curious if any of you had or were able to do anything with your seniors, whether it was a Zoom get together or something before you left campus, or if you have anything planned. I guess we can start again with Lisa and we'll work our way around.
We had seats on the airplane on the way home from Florida. So we chatted a little bit. You know, that senior is very level-headed, very smart individual, and was really upset, understood the situation. Asked for if we got, I didn't get a chance to see my other senior. She actually was away for spring break and ended up she lives off campus, so she didn't even come back to campus to remove her thing. I haven't only seen her on calls and text messages and whatnot, and unfortunately this time it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get together. Ceremony in July. I definitely want to get together with 6 of them or I'm an adult.
Tammy, you already mentioned that you were able to talk to your seniors a little bit. Anything else that you did for your seniors?
I know I personally haven't done anything with my seniors, but I know that their teammates did some great things for them, presents, and I know they had a little going away party for them too.
How about you, Jackie?
Yeah, I mean, the school was pretty particular about getting us off campus as quickly as possible once we got back. So we got back super late at night, so we just had to make sure the next day they were on planes and cars home. So we met in the morning, got bagels. I certainly hadn't been ready to give senior speeches, but we did share some words, and the juniors did too. So it was nice. At least we could send them off safely. We did a virtual senior day tailgate this weekend, which was nice. It would have been our senior day. So all the seniors and their families gathered around Zoom, and we shared for about an hour and checked in with everyone. And we're going to have an alumni game and full banquet in September.
Okay. And Tyler, I don't even know if you even got to know your seniors, because really their competitive season was done when you came on board as coach.
Yeah, I had met a few of them, just sort of them walking by the office. You know, I was moving sort of back and forth, and didn't really have a chance to connect with them before this all went down. So I actually set up phone calls with them in the last week or so, and was able to have some nice conversations with them, just to get to know them better and make sure, you know, we're having a bond moving forward, but also, you know, getting their input on, if, you know, commencement goes as planned, can we do something then where I can put on something and get to know them better, or at the very least, hopefully in the fall, whether it be through homecoming or a senior night, we can get those seniors back on campus. And for me to get to know them better, but also just to have maybe one last time for the team to say goodbye.
So then we turn our attention to the rest of your team and all the returners that'll be coming back, hopefully whenever the air clears, so to speak, and we're allowed to come back. How are you all keeping in touch with them on a daily basis? If you do on a daily, it may not be a daily basis, but how are you keeping them connected to you, to your strength coach, to workouts? They may not be on campus or with you, but they still got to stay in shape somehow, and that's really important for your program. So what kinds of things are you doing to remain connected? And we'll start with Tyler and go backwards this time. So Tyler, you're up.
Yeah, I think we've been trying to have in either some type of meeting every single week, whether it be an individual meeting, a team meeting, and we've even had positional meetings. So each week we've given a different volleyball match to watch. We've watched an international match. We've watched a college match from the NCAA tournament this past year, and then we've also watched a conference match. And we'll sort of meet, talk about that. We've had individual meetings just to talk about life, academics, how strength and conditioning is going. They've been using Bridge, and that seems like that's been a really awesome tool with this happening, having the ability to work with the strength and conditioning coach to do their exercises at home. A lot of our girls have weights at home, so our strength and conditioning coach, Nicole, has really been able to you know, personalize each person's workout to make sure they're getting the most out of it as possible. So yeah, we've been able to connect a lot, and as a new hire, it's like I said, I've gone to know them a lot better over the past couple of weeks just through the Zooms. We even had one meeting where we played Pictionary just to have something competitive to do, and it turned out to be pretty fun. And they were sort of, you know, able to talk a little smack and be competitive over Zoom, which was nice.
Jackie, how about you?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, in the beginning, everyone was like, how are you connecting with your student athletes? And I felt like they were still healing from the abrupt end to the season. They just needed a week or two to just like get home, be safe, figure out this new routine with their families. So all we did in the first 2 weeks was individual meetings, almost like it was the end of the season, talking about, you know, their development for next year and what to do in the off season. And then more recently, we have class meetings. I think the best thing we've done is start a leadership council. So we have developing leaders. We're reading a book together, setting the standards and culture of the team for the future. So those conversations have honestly been amazing. It's been a great chance to like reset the team in this time period. But in the beginning, it was really hard. I almost wanted to just make sure they were okay and home and safe before we tried to put too much on them again. But now it's been good to see them connected. They have a locker room space too. So from 4 to 6 every day, they can go in this virtual locker room. I got it from Coach Joey, our softball coach. So it's kind of cool. See them go in there and bond as if they were in the space together at school.
It's amazing, as much as we've all grown to detest Zoom at one point or another the last month, it's also a great tool for us to be able to keep in touch with the student athletes that are really all over the country and in some cases all over the world. So Tammy, what kind of contact have you been able to have with your student athletes?
Yeah, I'm still trying to honor this season. So this week is actually our Patriot League championships. So I've really focused on.
Which, by the way, Bucknell was going to host, correct?
No,
was
that's
Bucknell?
men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we hosted last year, so we were supposed to be at Colgate. So, so still trying to honor this season. And like Jackie said, the first couple phone calls, I talked to them once a week. So the first couple were just to make sure that they were okay. It's funny because I had my last phone call today with a player. I only have 5 that are returning. Just to see the cycle that they've gone through. So I'd say the first phone call, they were just, my stuff is still in my car, still trying to acclimate myself at home, understand what's happening. The next phone call, they were more calm. And then the third phone call, they were really upbeat. They had their routine, they were getting everything going. It was funny that this phone call this week, most of them seemed just unmotivated. They're just, I'm getting tired of this. Yeah, it's just the cycle that they're going through right now. But they're looking forward to, the future. We're starting talking about next year. As in terms of workout, Nicole's been great. She sends these awesome videos and we love to see her smiling face. Fortunately, most of the tennis courts in the areas are locked down, so they're not able to get to the courts. The clubs are closed. A lot of them are picking up like playing ping pong or hitting against the wall, trying to do other types of racket sports. But yeah, just they're doing well. They are.
Good. Now, Lisa, I know women's golf was supposed to host the Patriot League Championship at the Bucknell Golf Club this spring. So yeah, probably added to the whole just really remorse about the season being canceled. How are your student athletes doing?
They're doing well. I talk to them once a week via Zoom, of course. And we this spring semester, I started article discussion Wednesdays, and we've continued that. And each Wednesday, one player was responsible for bringing in an article that relates to what we do. And it didn't have to be golf related. It didn't have to be related. It was, a mental piece or something that they hear me talk about all the time. Like the first one we did was right after Kobe Bryant was killed, and our first article was brought in from our seniors about his Mamba mentality, and it was just great. They've done an awesome job of each week bringing an article to the floor that we just discuss and talk about what we can learn from that article. We've got one more of those left, and so that's what we do. And they also have been using Bridge to work out, and ironically, I just received a text from one of my freshmen this year, who is the trick shot artist and has sunk somehow another trick video too. If you want to see the first one she did, it's posted on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and I can't wait to see that she did. So that's how we're keeping our game sharp. Like Tammy, all the golf clubs are closed. And it's really sad. Like you say, we were going to host Patriot Leagues. I actually drove by the golf course on Sunday afternoon because I was just bored, and it's in phenomenal shape. Of course, the weather's been kind of warm. It's been kind of wet. There's no one been on the course, and it's really bitter. Today would have been the practice round for everybody, and I kind of get chills thinking about how sad I am that we can't host it this year. But the safety of us all is the most important thing right now. So, but other than that, the girls they're doing good. I miss them like crazy. So hopefully we can get all this out of here and we can get our fall season underway like normal.
So just to elaborate a little bit on the training portion of it, and I did see that trick video, by the way. That was really cool.
Yeah.
It was really neat. So have you guys heard any unique stories of training concepts that your student athletes are using? I mean, some of them may have access to weights at home, but some of them probably don't. And it all depends on each person's unique situation, how they can adapt and how they can train. I'm curious if you guys have seen anything. I know there's been some stories on Bridge, videos that have been up there, but if there's anything that sticks out in any of your minds, and I'll just open it up to the floor for that one.
We're doing.
We use a lot of body weight anyway, so we do a lot of body weight stretching. I haven't seen any of my players do videos of like lifting their dog or cat or anything, so no.
Okay, Jackie?
We're doing team Tabata workouts, and so I did one of them, and Nicole said to take a backpack and fill it with books if you don't have weights. So that was a lot more cumbersome than I thought it would be. But yeah, I tell them to use whatever they have. If they don't have cones or ladders, try to make them in your yard. Because you can't go to the fields right now. Most of them are shut down, the high schools and things like that. They can do indoor cradling. I say stand in front of the mirror, do your stick work.
Right.
Anything to keep the stick in their hands.
Yeah, one of our setters purchased. It's basically like a setter's hoop, and so she'll have her parents toss her balls, and she'll set the ball into the hoop, and they'll sort of move it in some different positions as if she's setting the ball on the court. We've had some girls use the wall to find different ways to get touches, because obviously volleyball is a lot easier to play in a group than by yourself. So, just the ability to hit repetitively against the wall, even though it sort of reminds you of what you would do just for fun as a kid, like it's nice to just be able to get some touches on the volleyball. So I was just having individuals with them this past week. It's, they're so motivated to touch the volleyball any way they can. And if that's having their mom and dad serve at them while they pass to a target, they've been doing that.
One thing that's really, really changing for all of you is the world of recruiting. All the secondary schools and high schools are obviously closed, and there are no events out there or showcases to go and see. And how has recruiting changed for each of you? And I'm imagining there are still a lot of questions about how it's going to evolve and what it's all going to look like. But obviously, it's a critical component to the success of your programs. And I feel bad for any one of our coaches, particularly for Tyler, who's just started, and Jackie, who's pretty much just started. And you're really learning the lay of the landscape of Bucknell. But then on top of that, you've got a huge curveball thrown in with the stoppage of the spring sports, and everything comes to a halt. So how has recruiting changed, or how do you envision it's going to change? Let's start with Tyler.
Yeah, so once again, everything was sort of the snowball effect. I remember we had gone to one tournament in February, and that was, a great way to get out and represent Bucknell. The next tournament we were going to go to, just the way that the calendar works, I think was middle of March. And I think it was like the day before that tournament got canceled. And basically it seems like for the club season, those junior tournaments are going to be canceled. So yeah, it's definitely been unique. Just with the recruiting roles, not being able to talk to anyone that's a junior. We've really been trying to connect with those girls that we have been in contact with since that tournament, or the school has been in contact with before I was hired. And so girls that we were, trying to get on campus, we've been trying to give them information on virtual tours, more information about the university. I know the school has been really great of coming up with different manuals and virtual tours, and just, having a lot of great ideas to get kids more acquainted with Bucknell and what it can provide. So that's been nice to get that to them. I think moving forward, we're, just trying to stay connected with our recruits, with recruiting coordinators, make sure we're, connecting with them. And then obviously with the fall, if things go back to normal, then, then it can come, do we have a clinic to get kids on campus? Do we try to get more kids on unofficial or official visits in the fall? And so that's something that obviously we'll have to assess as that gets closer. But yeah, it's just trying to stay connected with them. And obviously high school kids, same as with our seniors, like the seniors in high school are obviously in a similar situation where that whole year has been thrown up into the air. So just really trying to make sure that having that connection with our incoming girls as well.
And Jackie, videotape plays a huge part in recruiting to begin with, but now even more so since you can't see anybody in person. How comfortable are you guys as head coaches looking at video versus seeing somebody play in person? There's really probably no real comparison, but now it's a strength you have to rely on.
Yeah, I honestly was getting pretty used to it because that's the only way I've been able to since I've come in January. There wasn't any tournaments we could have attended. To now, it all starts in the summer and high school games in the spring. So we actually committed two players in the 21 class on film. So that was pretty unusual. So I've kind of already done that, but I was just really looking forward to being able to all the other recruits in person this spring and summer. So it's kind of weird. I'm just sick of watching film and sick of recruiting on film because especially if you're watching the shorter highlight films, it's not the same as watching full games. I think communication with club coaches is so important now more than ever. So that's something I'm working on just because there's some new contacts too. Especially I'm just starting to assume we might not have that summer season and trying to think ahead of what it will look like in case we don't get to, in-person games. We're really on the road like in June, July with camps and tournaments most days. And so if you take all that away and you're a brand new coach, it's a lot of challenges. So thankfully we have a lot of interest. We have a lot of great 22s writing to us. I think everyone's home and have as much to do as usual and can't play. So they're trying to think of innovative ways to keep in shape, coaches too. But I mean, everything is so different. We're having Zoom calls with our incoming players. Just, there's questions that you've never seen before. I think we're lucky where we're located, especially with the smaller amounts of coronavirus near us. I think the players feel more comfortable. I've had players reach out that have been in more city locations too. So, yeah, there's that piece of it. And then there's the transfer piece of it too. I mean, I'm sure like all the coaches were on the transfer portal all the time. And I just found out that we're not going to take grad transfers. So then there's some undergrad transfers and supporting our own seniors that want to go and keep playing. So it's a big process. Everything got turned around.
And Tammy, I don't even pretend to know anything about the world of tennis recruiting because to me, it seems all very foreign. But how are you approaching all of this right now?
Well, technically right now we're still in season, so I wouldn't be doing any traveling. What we're really missing out is having unofficial visits. So it was really important to me to have recruits come see the team and meet the players because we're such a small team. So team dynamics is really, really important to us. So, but it's funny, I seem to be actually getting more emails right now than ever before. So I've been on the phone a lot recently. So that's been good. When I start traveling is in June. So now that we're in the dead period until May 31st, I'm okay. So if that gets extended past June, that's when I start to probably get worried. But right now I'm doing okay because the players are still in school right now technically, but there's no tournaments going on, so everything's been canceled. So like the tennis world is all at a standstill right now, so there's really not much going on for any of us. It's just come June when school is out, the high school seasons are done, and then that's when I start traveling. So pretty much nothing has changed for me right now, but ask me that question again come June 1st.
Okay. It's good. I would think, Lisa, you would be in a very similar situation with a smaller squad size. It's really important to have a good, strong team dynamic. And it's tough when these potential recruits can't meet your current kids. So are you suffering through a lot of the same things Tammy's going through?
Yeah, well, we're very similar in that situation as well. As you know, there are junior golf tournaments supposed to be going on right now, but especially with this week's supposed to be Patriot League Championship at home, this is kind of I say slow period for recruiting for me. But come June, when school's out and there's a junior tournament every other day that I could go to, especially in the Northeast, it's a lot different. So yeah, like Tammy, I've been getting emails upon emails, which is normal for me. But I've definitely been on the phone a lot more this spring season because we can't be. And it's nice to be able to touch base with those young players and get to know them better, quicker in this time of uncertainty, I guess. So, yeah, ask me a question again in June.
You used a term that we're hearing a lot right now, and it's the word uncertainty. It's every day something is changing, and there's so much that can still evolve, particularly in the world of collegiate athletics and sports, and whether or not we're going to have an opening in the fall and be back on campus, or what we may all be doing. How are each of you handling this situation personally? Particularly since most of you are newer coaches and you're just getting settled into a situation, and now really there's upheaval. How are you each handling it? And I guess we can start with Tyler.
Yeah, so I officially moved here to Lewisburg with my family the first weekend of March. And so, yeah, we were just getting situated. I do have a 2.5-year-old son and a 1-month-old daughter and a wife. So we've been busy with the kids at home. You know, my 2.5-year-old, we can take him into the front yard and he has some chalk and some different toys he can play with, and he has a blast. So I think I've been lucky in that sense, where I've had two young children that keep us, me and my wife, fairly busy. And so just being able to hang out with them a lot is something that I obviously, one of the things I enjoy is just being able to stay with them. But yeah, it's my son, the first couple weeks, he just kept wanting to go to the park. He's like, I want to go to the park and see friends. And we're like, oh, you can't, no park today. But now he's just like, can we go outside? So we go outside and he can sort of run around the front yard. So it's been nice to have some time with him.
Jackie, what about you?
It's been challenging, honestly. I think you come and you're ready to jump into a season and all of a sudden it ends and there's no precedence for this. And so you kind of mourn like everything, just like the seniors do, because you want to give them that great opportunity. And so it goes, and it's a journey, but I think I'm just so thankful to have a position and be at a school that supports athletics and program that I feel confident in. And I just, you see family and friends that are in different industries that are really, really hit hard. And, I just feel lucky to still be working and find new ways to invest in the team, even though we're not together.
And Tammy, I know you've been doing a little bit with your time with a paintbrush. How are you? Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a new routine, trying to stay positive. Our children are a little bit older. I have a 17-year-old who's a junior. Classes have completely been canceled for him. No online schooling either. So, we worry a little bit about that as parents. Our routine has been lots of puzzles. My family likes to do puzzles, and we're building a house. So close to completion. I mean, I think move-in date was May 1st, and we stopped building, and we've been able to go in and paint. So Dave and I have been taking about 2 or 3 hours every day to go in and paint. And fortunately, there's some tennis courts in the area that are still open here. So we've been able to go outside and play some tennis with my kids. But yeah, just finding a new routine and a new normal and trying to stay positive.
And Lisa, I know you've been spending some time with that assistant coach of yours.
Yeah, he's asleep to me on the to the left of me here on the couch. He does two things really well. He sleeps and he eats carrots. So that word routine is really important, and he's really gotten used to it. I've gotten used to it too. I've been hitting my treadmill every day for the last couple of with the BISON staff challenge really been doing that. And I'm really honestly planning right now for the fall season to open when it was supposed to open. I'm staying positive. Really looking forward to that, and I want to be prepared as much as we can be, and hopefully that happens the way it's supposed to happen. If not, then we'll just have to adjust. As coaches, all four of us will tell you that being a great coach is being able to adjust. And you think everything. So, for example, I'm sitting in my living room, I'm looking at my front door. It was supposed to be the practice round of the Patriot League championships right now, right? There was a blizzard. A snow squall just went through. So if we were in the practice round right now, there'd be a lot of freaked out people. But that when we all say, well, Central Pennsylvania, we know what that means.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate each of you taking some time out today to just talk over a few of these issues and give folks at home an idea of what you're all going through and what your student athletes are going through. Obviously, we wish you and your teams the best and hope you all stay healthy and safe, and we'll all come out stronger on the end of this. And again, thanks a lot for your time today.
Thank you, Todd.
Thanks.
Thank you.